fire this, and it's legit for something.
Alrighty,
Like,
well, I'm gonna go wrangle the rest of the family.
like I could care less if I qualify. They'll just give me more rounds. We're good.
But this matters.
It does.
You shoot like outside of it?
Nope. Nope. I'm freaking out. I am too. I'm super excited.
Are they just doing them one at a time?
A year, 2, 3. They'll tell me when it's time for me to.
So you can have like a
Yep. Or when my 5-year-old, when she tells me, like we parked on the top of parking ramp yesterday, and so we get to the top. She's like, well, I wanted to press the button 2 more times. I just want to change out of this. She's so much fun. It's super easy because I have the t-shirt and then so I told her as soon as we were done, well, I forgot shoes, so I'm in heels with sweats.
Did you see where Randy went on? All people in here now that it's like I'm not discriminating. Yeah, but they're not worth as much.
You're not on here. Okay, so anywhere. Yeah, Fuller, your time is up. Roger that. I'm just scared I'm gonna have to go back. It just takes a little right on me. So yeah, but not for efficiency exams. No. Well, I did a change of responsibility. Feel better? All right. I was God and that was the last one I really. But it works for me because then I get to practice. Because then it's better for me because it makes me more comfortable. Well, it's the big words of the like I'm scared I'm gonna screw up. What is it? Yep. Malleability. Is that right?
Sitting on the left side. Oh, are you? I have to. Yeah. Okay. This tight. Eric, you want to get up here? You want to hop up? I'll be right in front of you. Just check on that. Ma'am?
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Fabulous.
Can you see that? Does this tape my marker here?
Yes.
I'll be right here. Cool. Yeah, I can kind of read that. So, I'll come up, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jacob Todd Hollis Finesse.
Having been appointed an officer.
Having been appointed.
Do we need
Yeah.
to like scream or do
No.
really project?
Speak loudly.
You don't have to scream.
If you're addressing.
Hey!
If you're addressing.
Hey, you
them too.
over there.
Hey, that guy.
Grunter.
Raise your hand.
Yeah, because I'll be like this, right? And then. Yes.
That one I don't know. I know Grenzer. I don't know.
Why don't you know him?
Grenzer and I were in this unit. I commissioned last year. She commissioned 2 years ago. That would be why I don't know.
Okay, we're good.
Okay, so I get up.
Yeah.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jacob Todd Hollis Finesse.
Having been appointed an officer
Having been appointed an officer
in the Army of the United States.
in the Army of the United States.
in the grade of second lieutenant,
in the grade of second lieutenant,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the
I have
United
two.
States
It's
that I will
like
support
an
and defend the
thing.
Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and that I will bear true
Right?
faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same.
allegiance. I will bear true faith. Bear true
Just
faith.
one thing at a time. So I'll say, and I will bear true faith
And I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same.
and that I take this obligation freely
And that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
Oh, so I'm gonna be in
purpose of
photos from
evasion.
today,
or purpose of
too?
evasion.
And I will well and faithfully
That I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office
that I will discharge the duties of this office
of which I am about to enter.
of which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God. It's a long,
Hands.
it's a long fucking thing.
Well, yeah, look at it.
Yeah.
Like here, you can just read through it.
Grimser. Keeker.
See, this part is added.
Yeah, the first one.
Dana.
I haven't been appointed an officer in the Army of the United States.
Yeah.
I just
That's where you start.
and I have Sir.
You're the only one that hasn't signed your oath. Okay, it's not real.
Oh, yeah. Oh, did we not rehearse that? What did I?
Did we just become best friends? Start getting everybody in here and sit down. Yep. You're gonna tell everybody about the cards?
Well, is my name on there or is it not on there?
Yes, it is. You are presenting. Which we can do like a quick time.
I just need to know what it is and like when. Okay.
I don't want to cross over. No. Not to mention the city's later. Because I'm already on
Commander, like you have to do.
Hey, let's start getting our seats. Start getting our seats.
I don't know, the lights really bright. It is. Oh, wow. Hi, ma'am.
No, I am on this side. They're both on the peak side.
They bad with this. You know what I mean? Well, yeah, that's the only option. Because the actual I told you, I'm just going to hold my We're just getting sharp on the real bunch of chicken thighs. Especially if
Sit down, Dan.
I still haven't signed my thing. I'm the only one that signed I'm kind of nervous. Actually, I'm not.
All right, like I said, right? Make sure when you come up on stage, take your mask off, right? This is a ceremony my students. This is 4 years for some of y'all of a culminating event, all right? This is the end, and now the real work begins. All right? I hate to say it that way, but it's true. The real work begins, all right? Bullet. Bullet, that's all I'm going to tell you. I don't know what yours is at all, so. It might be, actually. Because they did some kind of medical bowling when I at Fort Sill. And I never saw them doing anything.
A&M bowling is like a basic thing, so it's higher service.
Yeah, so. All right, so y'all ready?
Yep.
Y'all ready? Yes, sir. Y'all ready? All right, after this, you're no longer cadets, you're lieutenants, right?
Yeah, the fuck, that is so weird.
I'll go get her. Tell her I'll be out for a minute.
That's great.
Hey, y'all lieutenants after this, all right? So do, like I said, the ceremony's about you. Do yourselves proud, all right? Do your families proud. All right? Any questions? All right, I'm about to let everybody in.
What will these be? Better be the center.
For those of you who didn't hear the cards, that's the company you purchase pictures from. But you can also get them. You know, like send it to your family members. Yeah.
Freaking out, man.
Oh, I'm so excited. That's going to be lieutenants flying the coop back into the Army. You guys are ready? All right. Oh, well.
No.
I got drilled up. You're doing great, man.
Now, you guys are great. You guys will do a lot. You guys will do well.
Yeah, boy.
So, ma'am, I'll wait for your cues.
Weirdo. Oh my god, wait. 20 minutes. That's not what you want.
Do you want me to do the 5-minute break? We're at 5 minutes.
Okay, so you don't post any pictures of her honestly. No,
That's at the 1-minute mark, ma'am. Okay, man, start. 5 minutes? I will at the 1-minute mark. Ladies and gentlemen, please begin to take your seats. The ceremony will begin in 5 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony will begin in 1 minute. Please silence all your cell phones, and please make sure you are wearing your mask throughout the ceremony. If you are participating in the commissioning ceremony, you are authorized to unmask during that time. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Military Science Department, we would like to welcome you all to the Minnesota State University for the Spring 2021 Maverick Battalion Commissioning Ceremony. We are honored by the presence of friends and families for the commissionees. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of the national anthem. At this time, Cadet Benjamin Kelm will deliver the invocation.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for blessing these cadets with instruction and training over the last 4 years to prepare them for this day. As these cadets commission and become lieutenants, bless them with the strength to live by the Army values, the knowledge and tactical prowess to win on the battlefield, and the humility to learn from their mistakes. Give them wisdom and guidance as they bear the responsibility for leading the men and women in this great nation's Army. Preserve them physically, mentally, and emotionally always, and let them come safely home when their service to this country is complete. In your name we pray, amen.
Please be seated. At this time, the Professor of Military Science, Lieutenant Colonel Carmona March, will address the cadets and introduce today's guest speaker.
Good morning, distinguished guests, graduates, families, and friends. It's been a humbling experience this past year serving as your PMS and guiding you through the last phase of this year. I just want to say congratulations to you all. You guys made it, right? So shortly, I'm going to bring up Lieutenant Colonel Olson, and she's going to be addressing you with her inspirational words of wisdom. But I just want to leave you guys with one thought. As you become, you guys are now going to become leaders. Each decision that you guys will make will have consequences. So just make sure your decisions, you've made, these decisions are impactful, because they will impact you and others. In wartime, it can mean life or death, but sometimes even in peacetime. Therefore, it's your responsibility to make those sound decisions. Make sure you think about your soldiers and their families, their well-being, and also making sure you guys keep mission in mind. So good luck, great job, congratulations again, I'm proud of all of you. I'd like to bring up Lieutenant Colonel Olson. She serves as the staff judge advocate for the 34th Infantry Division. Her civilian role, she is the city attorney for the city of St. Paul, Minnesota, appointed by Mayor Melvin Carter in 2018. Prior to her appointment, Lieutenant Colonel Lindsay Olson served as the General Counsel, AGR State Judge Advocate for the Minnesota National Guard from 2013 to 2018, leading a legal team that provides in-house legal counsel to the organization on a wide range of military, governmental legal issues. She is a veteran of Operation Iraqi Freedom, where she earned a Bronze Star for her service as trial counsel and international law attorney. Lieutenant Colonel Olson is an advocate and leader known within the organization as a champion for inclusion and parity. She led efforts in 2013 to update the Minnesota Code of Military Justice and has had legal efforts at the local and national level for policy, law, and law change, providing protections and advocacy for victims of sexual assault in the reserve components. As part of this effort, she co-authored the bipartisan National Guard and Reserve Access to Counsel Act, passed into law in 2015, National Defense Authorization Act. Further, in 2019, she was selected to co-lead the Minnesota National Guard Sexual Assault Prevention and Response Board, co-authoring the board's report, which was recently released July 2020. The report provides a comprehensive review of practices, policies, and training, validating successes and identifying areas of opportunity and improvement, as well as recommendations for the Minnesota Guard to continue to work towards a culture free of sexual assault and harassment. Lieutenant Colonel Olson is a 2020 graduate of the U.S. Army War College, earning a master's degree in strategic studies. She received her bachelor's degree in philosophy, law, and rhetoric in 1998 from Stevens College in Columbia, Missouri, and her law degree in 2013 from Hamline University School of Law in St. Paul, Minnesota. While in law school, Lieutenant Colonel Olson served as a primary editor of the Hamline Law Review. In 2010, she received an LLM Military Law at the U.S. Army Judge Advocate General's Legal Center and School in Charlottesville, Virginia. Her LLM thesis was published in the Army Lawyer. Lieutenant Colonel Olson is a member of the Bar of Minnesota, the United States Court of Appeals for the Armed Forces, and the United States Supreme Court. Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Colonel Olson.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here this morning to share this important moment with you. All of you, families, military members. Family are some of the most important bedrock support that you will ever have in your military career. They're here with you today and throughout your career. I want to thank family members just for a minute, because all you do for our service members, for all of us, is so important to our success. The commissioning of an Army officer marks both an important symbolic moment in the beginning of what I hope for each of you is a career of service, leadership, personal growth, and camaraderie. The longer I serve and the more experience I have, I feel like I know less. There's always so much to learn, but man, I used to know so much when I was a captain. Leadership is a lifelong journey. Being a leader is not a destination to arrive at. That being said, I'd like to share 5 points to consider centering your compass on as you begin your leadership journey as an Army officer. Number 1, always leave things better than you found them. This goes for everything and is a basic sign of respect to yourself and those around you. It's an example as well for those you lead. The parents here today will appreciate this. Remember those moments growing up, and let's be honest, it's still true today, when you come home from college I have 2 daughters graduating this year, and so I'm speaking from a place of knowing on this. When your parents ask you to please remember to replace the toilet paper roll when you use the last bit, or put your used dishes in the dishwasher and to start it when it's full, these are the foundations of this concept. Instead of thinking, someone else will do that, be the someone else. Be on the lookout for how you can make things better for everyone, from the bathroom stall to the kitchen to the Army logistics system to the company SOP. Number 2, place people first. The Army Soldier's Creed tells us, always place the mission first. This remains true, but what it doesn't say, and it doesn't mean is, do this at the expense of people. We recognize our central mission is to fight and win the nation's wars. And to do that, both in the field and in garrison, we must remain mission-focused, but lead people first. Simon Sinek, the author of Leaders Eat Last, highly recommended by the way, sums this up best. Leaders are the ones who run headfirst into the unknown. They rush towards the danger. They put their own interests aside to protect us or pull us into the future. Leaders would sooner sacrifice what is theirs to save what is ours. They would never sacrifice what is ours to save what is theirs. This is what it means to be a leader. It means they choose to go first into danger, head first towards the unknown. And when we feel sure that they will keep us safe, we will march behind them and work tirelessly to see their vision come to life and proudly call ourselves followers. Number 3, lead with integrity. In your career, you will hear people refer to doing the hard right. This indicates the right thing is sometimes the difficult thing. When things get hard, and they will from time to time, remember to return to your center first. Remember who you are. Start with what is legal, ethical, moral. The gut check is real. You are the one who must square with your decisions in the end. I can see that Lieutenant Colonel March and I are tracking on that already, really. We didn't compare notes. Seek guidance. Use your chain of command. Use your personal and special staff officers, your JAG, your chaplain, and yes, your IG. When in doubt, start with the Army regulation. Almost everything in the Army is in a regulation or a field manual somewhere. Don't spin your wheels trying to reinvent it. Ask, can you? Then ask, should you? Number 4, self-development is a must. Lead by example. Seek excellence not just in what you achieve, but in who you are. Aristotle reminds us, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence is not an act, but a habit. This relates to my previous comment, leadership is a journey, not a destination. Read both fiction and nonfiction widely and often. Read the news from varying sources. Think critically and question what you know and what you think you know. And last but not least, remain humble, stay curious, and ask questions. Being a new lieutenant is actually a pretty great time. All jokes aside, and there will be jokes, people have lower expectations of you because you're new. Use this time wisely. Exceed expectations. Do this by remaining humble, asking questions, and staying curious. You have mentors and sponsors all around you in the Army family. You must sort out the good information and the good advisors for yourself to help you succeed. Proceeding this way helps you be a successful lieutenant, but is also the foundation for good leadership at every level. The Department of Defense's institutional classic, the Armed Forces Officer, states, an officer in the Armed Forces of the United States, as an Armed Forces officer of the United States, you are a citizen soldier, a warrior in the profession of arms, a member of a skilled profession, an unwavering defender of the Constitution, and a servant of the nation. A leader of character, you accept unmitigated personal responsibility for your duty, for your actions and those of your subordinates. You lead your service and defend your nation in seamless union with the officers of all services. In doing so, you willingly take your place in an ancient and honorable calling, obligated equally to those who have gone before you, those you walk among, and those who will follow. Congratulations on your commissioning today and the beginning of your journey. Thank you.
Lieutenant Colonel Olson, just on behalf of the Maverick family, I just wanted to say thank you, because you came here and you gave us some inspirational words. Just thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Everyone here appreciates it. We also have a clock and our coveted coin.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ladies, for those inspiring words. Now we will recognize the cadets who will soon receive their commission as officers in the United States Army. During the ceremony, you will witness several traditions cadets go through in order to begin their journey as an officer in the United States Army. The first tradition is the oath of office that publicly binds us by our honor and commitment to certain specific obligations, specifically to serve and defend the Constitution and our way of life. The second is the pinning of the gold bars. These bars are visible and a symbol of the malleability of the new officers, as well as the indication of our rank as a member of the officer corps. Third is giving and receiving the first salute, a tradition between the new officer and a non-commissioned officer. It is customary for a newly commissioned officer to present a silver coin to the first NCO to salute him or her. This tradition dates back to the British colonial America and reflects the respect and confidence of the new officer has for the NCO Corps. The final tradition is the receipt of the written commission, in which the Secretary of the Army assigns the new lieutenant the authority to accomplish the duties and responsibilities of their appointed rank. We will now have Cadet Samuel Dayak come forward at this time. Anyone wishing to take pictures of the ceremony, please feel free to move to the aisles. Cadet Dayak is branching armor in the active Army. He will now be sworn in by Lieutenant Colonel retired David Dayak.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Samuel Dayak,
Having been appointed an officer
having been appointed an officer
in the Army of the United States
in the Army of the United States
in the grade of second lieutenant,
in the grade of second lieutenant,
do solemnly swear
that
I will support and defend
the
the Constitution of the United States
Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
Against-
foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely and without any mental reservation
that I take this obligation freely and without any mental obligation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
of the office I'm about to enter.
of the office I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God. Thanks, Dad.
At this time, Lieutenant Dayak's mother Janice, brother Nathaniel, and sister Sophia will pin his rank on his shoulders. Ladies and gentlemen, providing Lieutenant Dayak's first salute is Master Sergeant Raymond Mason II. Now Lieutenant Dayak receives his commissioning certificate.
Congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am.
Lieutenant Dayak.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Army's newest Second Lieutenant, Samuel Dayak. We will now have Joseph Griffith come forward at this time. Anyone wishing to take pictures of the ceremony, please feel free to move to the aisles. Cadet Griffith, branching Transportation Corps in the Minnesota Army National Guard, will now be sworn in by Major Omar Harriot.
I state your name.
I, Joseph Griffith,
Have been appointed an officer in the Army of the United States
having been appointed an officer in the Army of the United States
in the grade of second lieutenant.
in the grade of second lieutenant,
Solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
And I take this obligation freely,
And I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of which I am about to enter.
of the office of which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
At this time, Lieutenant Griffith's parents, Dan and Debbie Griffith, will pin his rank on his shoulders. Ladies and gentlemen, providing Lieutenant Griffith's first salute is Specialist Retired Dan Griffith. Now Lieutenant Griffith receives his commissioning certificate.
Congratulations, Lieutenant Griffith.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Army's newest Second Lieutenant, Joseph Griffith. We will now have Cadet Trajan Grimsrud come forward at this time. Anyone wishing to take photos of the ceremony, please feel free to move to the aisles. Cadet Grimsrud, branching infantry into the active Army, will now be sworn in by Lieutenant Colonel retired Dan Keeker.
Please raise your right hand. I, Trajan Dane Grimsrud,
I, Trajan Dane Grimsrud,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
that I will well and faithfully
that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office
discharge of the duties of the office
of which I'm about to enter as a commissioned officer in the United States Army.
As a commissioned officer of the United States Army.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Lieutenant.
Sir.
At this time, Lieutenant Grimsrud's parents, Dana and Connie Grimsrud, will pin his rank on his shoulders. Ladies and gentlemen, providing Lieutenant Grimsrud's first salute is Master Sergeant Raymond Mason II. Now Lieutenant Grimsrud receives his commissioning certificate.
Congratulations, Lieutenant Grimsrud.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present the Army's newest Second Lieutenant, Trajan Grimsrud. We will now have Cadet Alyssa Hippen come forward at this time. Anyone wishing to take pictures of the ceremony, please feel free to move to the aisles. Cadet Hippen, branching engineer in the Minnesota Army National Guard, will now be sworn in by Captain Carla Mercier.
I, Alyssa Hippen,
I, Alyssa Hippen,
having been appointed an officer
have been appointed an officer
in the Army of the United States
in the Army of the United States
in the grade of Second Lieutenant,
in the grade of Second Lieutenant,
do solemnly swear
that
I will support and defend
the
Constitution of the United States
Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
and
allegiance to the same,
that
that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
and
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office
upon which I am about to enter. So help me God.
So help me God.
At this time, Lieutenant Hippen's parents, Brent and Bridget Hippen, will pin her rank on her shoulders. Ladies and gentlemen, providing Lieutenant Hippen's first salute is Sergeant First Class Brian Robin.
Welcome to the Renegade. Don't cry. Thank you.
Now Lieutenant Hippen receives her commissioning certificate.
Congratulations, Lieutenant Hippen.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Army's newest Second Lieutenant, Alyssa Hippen. We will now have Cadet Ashley Interest come forward at this time. Anyone wishing to take photos of the ceremony, please feel free to move to the aisles. Cadet Interest branching Army Nurse Corps into the active Army will now be sworn in by Colonel Retired Robert Interest.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Ashley Marie Interest,
Having been appointed an officer
having been appointed an officer
in the Army of the United States
in the Army of the United States
in the grade of second lieutenant,
in the grade of second lieutenant,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic.
that I will bear true faith
I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservations
without any mental reservations
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
about which I am about to enter.
about which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
At this time, Lieutenant Interest, mother, father, and brother, Heather, Robert, and Spencer Interest will pin her rank on her shoulders.
Oh my God. We practice this. We practice.
Here.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, providing Lieutenant Interest first salute is Army Specialist Kristen Interest. Now Lieutenant Interest receives her commissioning certificate.
Congratulations, Lieutenant Interest.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Army's newest Second Lieutenant, Ashley Interest. We will now have Cadet Allison Jasper come forward at this time. Anyone wishing to take pictures of the ceremony, please feel free to move to the aisles. Cadet Jasper, branching Transportation Corps in the Minnesota Army National Guard, will now be sworn in by Captain Thomas Bentley II.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Allison Jasper,
Having been appointed an officer
having been appointed an officer
in the Army of the United States
in the Army of the United States
in the grade of second lieutenant,
in the grade of second lieutenant,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental obligation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congrats, Allie.
At this time, Lieutenant Jasper's father, Hugo McPhee, and husband, Mitchell Jasper, will pin her rank on her shoulders.
Come on. Yeah. Here, I got it. Here, I got it. I got the bag. Here's that. I got It's a tricky rascal.
Ladies and gentlemen, providing Lieutenant Jasper's first salute is Master Sergeant Raymond Mason II. Now Lieutenant Jasper receives her commissioning certificate.
Congratulations, Lieutenant Jasper. Thank you, ma'am.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Army's newest Second Lieutenant, Allison Jasper. We will now have Cadet Zachary Jacobson come forward at this time. Anyone wishing to take pictures of the ceremony, please feel free to move to the aisles. Cadet Jacobson, branching armor into the Minnesota Army National Guard, will now be sworn in by Major Omar Harriot.
I state your name.
I, Zachary Jacobson,
Having been appointed an officer
having been appointed an officer
in the Army of the United States
in the Army of the United States
in the grade of second lieutenant,
in the grade of Second Lieutenant,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
and I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same.
to the same.
I take this obligation freely,
I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion.
or purpose of evasion.
I will execute the duties of the office of which I am about to enter.
I will execute the duties of the office that I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thanks, sir.
At this time, Lieutenant Jacobson's parents, Matthew and Sarah Jacobson, will pin his rank on his shoulders.
Good job, kiddo.
Ladies and gentlemen, providing Lieutenant Jacobson's first salute is Master Sergeant Raymond Mason II. Now Lieutenant Jacobson receives his commissioning certificate.
Congratulations, Lieutenant Jacobson.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Army's newest Second Lieutenant, Zachary Jacobson. We will now have Cadet Luke Nash come forward at this time. Anyone wishing to take pictures of the ceremony, please feel free to move to the aisles. Cadet Nash, branching ordnance into the active Army, will now be sworn in by Lieutenant Colonel retired Dean Olson.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Luke Nash,
Having been appointed an officer
having been appointed an officer
in the Army of the United States
in the Army of the United States
in the grade of Second Lieutenant,
in the grade of Second Lieutenant,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
and that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
or
purpose of evasion,
that
I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office
upon
which I'm about to enter. So help me God.
So help me God.
At this time, Lieutenant Nash's mother, Lynette Nash, and sister Alexa Nash will pin his rank on his shoulders. Ladies and gentlemen, providing Lieutenant Nash's first salute is Specialist Jeremy Olson. Now Lieutenant Nash receives his commissioning certificate.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Army's newest Second Lieutenant, Luke Nash. We will now have Cadet Emily Peterson come forward at this time. Anyone wishing to take pictures of the ceremony, please feel free to move to the aisles. Cadet Peterson, branching Field Artillery into the active Army, will now be sworn in by First Lieutenant Isabel Grenscher.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Emily Peterson,
Having been appointed an officer in the Army of the United States
have been appointed an officer in the Army of the United States
at the grade of Second Lieutenant,
at the grade of Second Lieutenant,
do solemnly swear to support and defend
do solemnly swear to support and defend
the Army of the United States
the Army of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and that I will bear true faith and
that-
allegiance to the same,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office upon which I am about to enter.
of the office of which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God. Oh, thank God. That's
At this time, Lieutenant Peterson's parents, Beth and Keith Peterson and Joseph Farniak, will pin her rank on her shoulders. Ladies and gentlemen, providing Lieutenant Peterson's first salute is Master Sergeant Raymond Mason II.
King of Battle. Congratulations.
Now Lieutenant Peterson receives her commissioning certificate. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Army's newest Second Lieutenant, Emily Peterson. We will now have Cadet Reese Podgorski come forward at this time. Anyone wishing to take pictures of the ceremony, please feel free to move to the aisles. Cadet Podgorski, branching ordnance into the Minnesota Army National Guard, will now be sworn in by Second Lieutenant Eric Ward.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Reese Joseph Podgorski,
Having been appointed an officer in the Army of the United States,
having been appointed an officer in the Army of these United States,
as indicated above in the grade of Second Lieutenant,
as indicated and above in the grade of Second Lieutenant,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter.
discharge the duties of the office I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Lieutenant.
Ladies and gentlemen, providing Lieutenant Podgorski's first salute. Wait, time out. Getting ahead of myself. At this time, Lieutenant Podgorski's parents, Todd and Carrie Podgorski, will pin his rank on his shoulders. Now, ladies and gentlemen, providing Lieutenant Podgorski's first salute is Staff Sergeant Rebecca Spalding. Now, Lieutenant Podgorski receives his commissioning certificate. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Army's newest Second Lieutenant, Reese Podgorski. We will now have Cadet Nathaniel Tuchek come forward at this time. Anyone wishing to take pictures of the ceremony, please feel free to move to the aisles. Cadet Tuchek, branching armor into the active Army will now be sworn in by Lieutenant Colonel, retired Randy Herman.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your full name.
I, Nathaniel Lee Tuchek,
Have been appointed an officer
have been appointed an officer
in the United States
in the United States
in the grade of second lieutenant.
in the grade of second lieutenant.
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United
against
States
all enemies, foreign and domestic.
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to
and,
the same.
and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
That I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
purpose of evasion.
or purpose of evasion,
And that I will well and faithfully
that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of
discharge
of
the,
the office
discharge the duties of the office
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
At this time, Lieutenant Tuchek's wife, Julia Tuchek, and mother, Melissa Tuchek, will pin his ring on his shoulders. Ladies and gentlemen, providing Lieutenant Tuchek's first salute is Specialist Retired William Tuchek. Now Lieutenant Tuchek receives his commissioning certificate. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Army's newest Second Lieutenant, Nathaniel Tuchek. We will now have Cadet Jake Vaness come forward at this time. Anyone wishing to take pictures of the ceremony, please feel free to move to the aisles. Cadet Vaness, branching chemical into the active Army, will now be sworn in by Second Lieutenant Nate Williamson.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jacob Todd Hollis Vaness,
Having been appointed an officer
having been appointed an officer
in the Army of the United States
in the Army of the United States
in the grade of second lieutenant,
in the grade of second lieutenant,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States of America
the Constitution of the United States of America
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
and that I will bear true faith
and that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same.
That
I take this obligation freely
and that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion.
I
I will well and faithfully
discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of this office
on which I'm about to enter.
on which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
At this time, Lieutenant Vanessa's family, Brent, Deb, Nick, and Laura Vaness, will pin his ring on his shoulders. Ladies and gentlemen, providing Lieutenant Vanessa's first salute is Army Specialist Retired Eugene Williams. Now Lieutenant Vanessa receives his commissioning certificate.
Congratulations, Lieutenant Vanessa.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Army's newest Second Lieutenant, Jake Vanessa. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of the Army song. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the commissioning ceremony. Thank you again for your attendance and support. Please enjoy some refreshments and travel home safely.
Peterson, because I'm going to be right here, right? Because you're going to be talking.
Yep.
And then so she has.
It is my honor and privilege to welcome you each of you to the Minnesota State University Mankato, Minnesota CSU Ballroom today for the retirement of Master Sergeant Raymond Mason II. We are pleased to welcome Master Sergeant Mason's wife, Michelle Mason. Today, the United States Army will honor Master Sergeant Mason on the occasion of his retirement after more than almost 25 years of dedicated service to his country. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem. Okay. We're just going to rewrite the script today. So at this time, Cadet Benjamin Kelm will deliver the invocation.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come together today to remember the service of Master Sergeant Mason and wish him your blessings in retirement. We thank you for blessing us with his knowledgeable instruction, mentorship, and great sense of humor during his time here. Let his time defending this nation continue to be a blessing to him and give him rest and relaxation in his retirement. Allow him to enjoy the same freedom that he fought for so long to defend. In your name we pray. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. At this time, Lieutenant Colonel Carmona March will now give her remarks.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. First, I want to thank you. Master Sergeant Mason, for your service to the Maverick Battalion, Army, and the nation. I can't emphasize enough our sincere appreciation for all you've done. Also, I want to thank Michelle, Alyssa, and Adriana for their service, because without them, you couldn't do what you did for us. So thanks so much. Today, we are celebrating Master Sergeant Mason's achievement of almost 25 years of service to the Army and nation. Throughout his tenure, he's successfully done multiple deployments and served in each echelon from division down to company. He's held positions of high responsibility, such as Chief Fires Directions, NCOIC, Fire Direction NCO, Battalion Operations, Observer Controller Trainer, Basic Officer Leader Course First Sergeant, and now, last, Senior Military Science Instructor for the Maverick Battalion. His portfolio displays a wealth of knowledge and the experience that he has. What is most impressionable about him is his desire and dedication. You can tell he loves to mentor and develop leaders. I remember it was my first weeks in the position, and I just observed him interacting with cadets, and just the eagerness and devotion and dedication, it just showed. It just exemplified throughout. If you guys scroll through Facebook and Instagram, you can see pictures of him just teaching cadets. And he has that picture, that type of look, you know, and it's throughout the whole platform. It's great. Truly epitomizes be no do. Now that he is retiring, we'll miss everything that you do, everything about you, that what we have come to expect and rely on. Now we know you're excited to move on with a new chapter in your life and your family. But just keep in mind, remember us here those that are staying in snowy Minnesota or Wisconsin. And don't be sending no pictures of you in sunny Florida in the height of the winter, because we will probably be very jealous. So good luck to you, Master Sergeant Mason. All the best, and thank you for your many years of service.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Attention to orders. To all who shall see these presents, greeting. This is to certify that the President of the United States of America, authorized by executive order on 1 April 2021, has awarded the Meritorious Service Medal to Master Sergeant Raymond M. Mason II for exceptionally meritorious service while serving in successive positions of increasing responsibility for over 25 years, culminating in his assignment as senior military instructor for the Minnesota State University Mankato. Master Sergeant Raymond Mason's actions significantly contributed to the overall success of the brigade and cadet command. His professional devotion to duty and mission accomplishment reflect great credit upon himself, the United States Army, Cadet Command, and the United States Army. Signed, John R. Evans, Jr., Major General, U.S. Army Commanding.
Announce the retirement.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Lieutenant Colonel March will now present the certificate of retirement. The certificate reads, "From the Armed Forces of the United States of America, to all who shall see these presents, greeting. This is to certify that Master Sergeant Raymond Mason II, having served faithfully and honorably, is retired from the United States Army on the first day of October 2021. Signed, James C. McConneville, General, United States Army, Chief of Staff." Lieutenant Colonel March will now present a certificate of appreciation from the 45th President of the United States. The certificate reads, "For service in the Armed Forces of the United States, Master Sergeant Raymond Mason II, I extend to you my personal thanks and the sincere appreciation of grateful nation for your contribution of honorable service to our country. You have helped maintain the security of the nation during a critical time in its history with a devotion to duty and spirit of sacrifice in keeping with the proud traditions of military service. I trust that in the coming years, you will maintain an active interest in the armed forces and the purpose for which you served. Those who follow in your footsteps will draw inspiration from your commitment, dedication, and sacrifices made to ensure the protection of our American freedoms. My best wishes to you for happiness and success in the future." At this time, Lieutenant Colonel March will present Master Sergeant Mason with his retirement flag and letter. This letter reads, "Master Sergeant Raymond M. Mason II, thank you and your family for your many years of dedication, service, and commitment to our nation. Only 17% of all soldiers who join the Army persevere until retirement. Please accept our congratulations for reaching this personal milestone. As your transition to the next chapter in your life, you will represent the Army in our community and may be the only connection to the military many people ever have. Our challenge to you is to hire and inspire. hire veterans in you, or refer them to the positions that you know about. Inspire those with whom you interact to serve or support those that do. Most of all, tell your Army story, what led you to serve, and the positive impact the Army had on you. In this box, we present you with the United States flag, a Soldier for Life label button, and Soldier for Life decals. These items are symbols of your commitment to the Army and your nation. Display them proudly around your home, on your vehicle, and in your community as a way to continue to support the Army and its people, our soldiers, families, civilians, and our soldiers for life. Once a soldier, always a soldier for life. Lieutenant Colonel March will now present Michelle D. Mason with the Certificate of Appreciation and Roses. The certificate reads, "To all who shall see these presents greeting, this is to certify that Michelle D. Mason, on the occasion of the retirement of your spouse from the United States Army, has earned grateful appreciation for your own unselfish, faithful, and devoted service, your unfailing support and understanding help to make possible for your spouse's lasting contribution to the nation." Master Sergeant Raymond Mason II will now give his remarks.
Lieutenant Colonel March, cadre, fellow veterans, family, and friends. First, I would like to say thanks be to God, for I would not be here without His blessings. Thank you for coming today, as I know all of you have busy schedules, to share in this special moment for my family and me. I'll only talk for a few minutes as not to bore you. I want to start by saying my wife and I have started aggressively planning for our retirement. We started playing the lottery 2 to 3 times a week. I started every class the last 2 years with a joke, so it seems only fitting to continue that now. This kind of joke reminds me of the interaction between officers and enlisted. Officer: "Soldier, do you have change for $1? Soldier: "Sure, buddy." Officer: "Now that's no way to address an officer. Let's try that again." Officer: "Soldier, do you have change for $1? Soldier: "No, sir." As a young teenager, I had no clue what I was going to do after I graduated high school. So my mom tried to motivate me. She thought she was motivating me to go to college, but I cooked up a different plan that even surprised her. I decided to join the Army and enlisted in a job that every young man dreams of: blowing stuff up and not getting arrested for it. So I joined the king of battle, the field artillery. When I first joined the Army, I also used to make fun of all those old NCOs. And somehow, I'm standing here, that old man. Not that I'm an old, because I'm not, but I'm Army old, as the Army is a young person's job. Nonetheless, the Army has done everything for me. It paid for my college degree. It paid for my travel to include exotic foreign lands, if you include Korea, Kuwait, Iraq, and Afghanistan, all of by which never had any desire to go to. And it also did the most important thing for me. It provided for my family. I have moved 9 times and have done every job that is offered a fire direction specialist. and have had the privilege of being a first sergeant, and then finally a senior military science instructor here at Minnesota State. Of this, I will always remember my leaders, my mentors, and all my soldiers, especially the ones I have worked with and have led. Although they are not present today, I will always thank them because I was successful because of them. Being the senior military science instructor has been a challenging and at times a fun job. And it was great to be my final assignment. I will not miss all the paperwork, the late nights, but I will definitely miss the ridiculous things that come out of cadets' mouths. I will definitely miss molding them into future leaders and lieutenants. To me, it is important to ensure the next generation of leaders are ready to take that reign as the older generation, like myself, ride off into the sunset. Anyone that knows me knows family is the most important thing to me. I would be selfish not to thank my daughters for all they have endured in their entire life. They've had no real roots, lived nowhere near extended family, and have learned the definition of resilient. As we moved, I saw my daughters crushed as they left their friends and had to say goodbye, as they packed up their stuff. But yet, they were always excited to be prepared for new adventures. Alyssa and Anna, thank you for everything and for your sacrifices. Girls, I promise we plan to stay in Orlando with no more moving. To my wife, who has been on this journey with me for the last 19 years, I have no words to express what you mean to me. You stayed home and took care of our daughters. You stayed home and took care of other soldiers' wives. You received no medals or praise for what you have done. You are the one that made it possible for me to worry about soldiers and do my job. Just think, no more FTXs, no more deployments. I give it 2 weeks and you'll be kicking me out the house saying I'm driving you crazy. Nonetheless, you are my rock. I love you. And thank you will never be enough for what you've done. As most of you know, I am moving to Orlando. And before you ask, I will not be your personal ticket master for any amusement parks. But if you are in town, you can always look me up, and I'm down to go get a beer. I highly suggest, though, if you're from Minnesota, you do it in the winter, because this summer will be too hot for you. With all that, thank you all again for all coming out today. Thank you to Colonel March and the other cadre for putting this together. It was a pleasure serving, but like they say, all good things come to an end. I plan on enjoying the weather in Florida and spending time with my family. King of battle.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the Army song. This concludes our ceremony. I invite you to come forward to offer your personal congratulations to Master Sergeant Raymond Mason and his wife. You are cordially invited to remain for the reception in the rear of the ballroom. Well, it's not in the rear, it's in the...